Chapter 1. Li Fuchen, even if you train for another 10 years, you still won't be a match for me. On the martial arts stage, the delicate-looking Li Fuchen was sent flying by a green-clothed youth. He, just as I expected, defeated in 3 moves. This is already the 7th time Li Fuchen has lost to Li Yunhe in the past year. Isn't that so? Li Fuchen was considered a prodigy in the past and had always been suppressing Li Yunhe. Who would have thought that in just a year, the prodigy would turn into trash? Not only did his ability stagnate, he also became stupid. Knowing that he isn't a match for Li Yunhe, he still accepted his challenge. You are wrong about Li Fuchen. He has always been a prideful person and never avoids a challenge. Sigh, if you want to blame someone, blame Li Fuchen for having a fiancé named Guanshui. Who knew that Li Yunhe liked Guanshui too? The 3 of them grew up together, but Guanshui was already betrothed to Li Fuchen. This made Li Yunhe unhappy. The gloating laughter from the surroundings was so piercing to Li Fuchen's ears, causing his breathing to become slightly rushed. 1 year, everything happened 1 year ago. 1 year ago, he was definitely a prodigy in the Li clan and Li Yunhe was never considered a match for him. But one day, he suddenly lost his talent. To be exact, his talent couldn't be used anymore. Whenever he concentrated, his head would split open in pain. That kind of pain made it impossible for him to cultivate peacefully. After a single exchange, Li Yunhe noticed that Li Fuchen's ability didn't have any improvement, so he tried to find a way to challenge Li Fuchen. Clenching his fist, Li Fuchen looked up at the sky, his heart filled with unyielding will. Damned heavens, how did I, Li Fuchen, offend you? Why did you take away my talent? Do you know that in this world where the strong rule supreme, having no talent is the consequence? Li Fuchen roared in his heart. A pity, the heavens couldn't hear his inner voice. Sneering at Li Fuchen, Li Yunhe felt extremely carefree. He had always been jealous of Li Fuchen. He was jealous that Li Fuchen's father was the Li clan patriarch. Be it resources or treatment, Li Fuchen was better than him. If his father was also the patriarch, his achievements would definitely surpass Li Fuchen. Now that the other party had become trash, the patriarch could not help him. It should be known that the patriarch was not the only one who had the final say in the Li family. Behind the patriarch was the Council of Elders. Once the Council of Elders made a decision, the patriarch could not change it. Of course, most of the time, it was the patriarch who had the final say. The Council of Elders usually did not participate in the family's affairs. Li Fuchen, I advise you to give up on Guanshui. A trash like you isn't worthy of her. Li Yunhe turned around and left the martial arts field after leaving behind a mocking sentence. The spectators left one by one, leaving only Li Fuchen standing there. In a pavilion far away, a white-robed middle-aged man saw all of this. Fuchen, father may be the patriarch, but father can't help you with such matters. You can only rely on yourself. Seeing Li Fuchen being bullied as a father, he felt worse than anyone else. But he knew that once he stood up for Li Fuchen would suffer even more humiliation and resentment. In this world where the strong ruled and the hierarchy was strict, everything depended on one's own ability. External forces might make him look good on the surface, but in the dark, who knew how many people would be disdainful and resentful of him? Deep into the night, Li Fuchen sat cross-legged on the futon, diligently cultivating the red jade technique. The red jade technique was the only high-tier, yellow-class technique of the Li clan. It was separated into 7 ranks. A year ago, Li Fuchen was already at the 3rd rank. But after a year, he didn't make any progress. Li Yunhe used this time to cultivate the red jade technique to the 4th rank, which was why he could suppress Li Fuchen. Even though he had experienced this countless of times, the pain in his head still made Li Fuchen cry out in pain. This type of pain was 100 times worse than physical pain. It came from the depths of his soul. With his body drenched in sweat, Li Fuchen opened his eyes unwillingly. Due to his tightly clenched teeth, fresh blood flowed down his lips. It was a ghastly sight. Is it still like this? Li Fuchen still couldn't understand what happened to his body. The external humiliation was a huge blow to him, but this ignorance was an even bigger blow to him. It was as if a venomous snake was slowly eating away at his bone marrow. By the time he realized it, his bone marrow had already been sucked dry. The night was over and the sun was up. Early in the morning, a guest came to the Li clan. It was the Guan clan's patriarch, Guan Yu. In the meeting hall, a white-robed Li Tianhan passionately welcomed him. "Guan Yu, what brings you here?" Guan Yu was almost 8 feet tall with a stocky build. He awkwardly laughed. "I have nothing better to do today, so I came to take a look." "Alright, how is Fuchin?" "He is still the same." This incident had a huge impact on him. "I hope he can pull through." Li Tianhan's expression was a little gloomy. "Don't worry, it might just be temporary. I believe he can pull through." Pausing for a moment, Guan Yu took out a jade bottle. "This is a vitality pill, it might be of some use to him." "Vitality pill?" Li Tianhan didn't accept it and had a puzzled expression. The vitality elixir wasn't just any ordinary elixir, but a high-tier, yellow-class elixir. A single elixir was worth a few thousand gold coins. Even though Li Tianhan's daughter was engaged to Fuchin, they weren't married yet. Gifting such a valuable elixir made Li Tianhan a little confused. Guan Yu unhappily replied, "It's just a pill, why? You don't like it?" "It's not about the pill." "Guan Yu, do you have something to say?" As an old friend, Li Tianhan knew that Guan Yu was hiding something. Placing the jade bottle on the table, Guan Yu spoke with difficulty. "Tianhan, I am here to discuss something with you." "Speak." "I'm listening." Li Tianhan had a bad premonition. Clearing his throat, Guan Yu said, "Just a week ago, my daughter, Guan Shui, broke through to the 7th level of the Qi realm." 7th level of the Qi realm? Li Tianhan took in a deep breath. Guan Shui and Li Fuchin were the same age, 14 years old. A 14-year-old at the 7th level of the Qi realm. If he didn't know Guan Yu's character, he would have thought he was joking. The Li clan's top prodigy, Li Yunhai, was only at the 6th level of the Qi realm. Li Fuchin and Li Yunhe were only at the 4th level of the Qi realm. "I remember she just broke through to the 6th level of the Qi realm half a year ago?" Li Tianhan asked. Guan Yu laughed bitterly. "My daughter is naturally talented. She actually managed to cultivate our Guan clan's aquaselenic arts to the 6th rank. You know, to a certain extent, it is harder to break through a cultivation technique than a cultivation level. Those who managed to cultivate the aquaselenic arts to the 6th rank were all Origin Realm martial artists. None of them were in the Qi realm." "What a monster!" Li Tianhan sighed in his heart. "Brother Tianhan, my daughter has already been accepted as a disciple of the Zhanglan sect. I'm afraid this engagement cannot be carried out." Guan Yu didn't bother to hide anything and got straight to the point. Li Tianhan raised his eyebrows. "They are still young, it is still too early to talk about this engagement. We can talk about it a few years later." Guan Yu replied seriously, "This is also my daughter's wish. I hope Brother Tianhan can fulfill it." Li Tianhan's expression turned ugly. He stared at Guan Yu. "What? Your Guan clan wants to break off the engagement? It was your Guan clan who initiated the engagement. Now it is your Guan clan who is the first to break off the engagement. What do you take my Li clan for? What do you take me, Li Tianhan, for? Do you think my Li clan has declined and is not worthy of your Guan clan's marriage? Brother Tianhan, my Guan clan will compensate you. Keep this vitality pill first. In a few days, my Guan clan will give the best Guan clan in Yunwu City to your Li clan." Now that the words were out, Guan Yu relaxed a little. Yes, Guan Yu was right, a marriage alliance must have its value. The Li clan had not sent anyone into the Zhanglan sect for the past 10 years, while the Guan clan was thriving. Every 2 years, there would be 1 or 2 Guan clansmen entering the Zhanglan sect. This year, Guan Shui became a disciple of the Zhanglan sect in advance. To be able to become a disciple in advance, which one of them didn't have a bright future ahead of them? If this was the case, the Guan clan wouldn't be in such a hurry to break off the engagement. After all, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. As one of the 4 major clans of Yunwu City, the Li clan was still a force to be reckoned with, not any weaker than the rising Guan clan. A pity that Li Fuchin was too disappointing. His innate talent was considered decent, But 1 year ago, he did something that angered the heavens and caused his innate talent to disappear. A cripple, how could he be worthy of the Guan clan's #1 prodigy? This was something the Guan clan couldn't tolerate. What's more, Guan Shui herself wasn't interested in this marriage alliance. She had requested to break off the engagement more than once, but Guan Yu kept it to himself. He felt that he had done enough for the Li clan. The pill and the restaurant, my Li clan won't accept it. We can't afford to lose this face. Guan Yu Xiong, this is the last time I will address you as Xiong Guan Yu. From today onwards, we are no longer friends. Li Tianhan was completely disappointed. The Guan clan was able to rise because of the Li clan. He didn't expect them to burn the bridge after crossing it. Tianhan Xiong, I have nothing else to say. It is my Guan clan's fault this time. I will take my leave first. Taking a deep breath, Guan Yu stood up and left. Bring the pill. Li Tianhan waved his hand, an invisible qi was released and the jade bottle flew towards Guan Yu. Catching the jade bottle, Guan Yu left in silence. Once Guan Yu walked out of the hall, Li Tianhan crushed the armrest of his chair with an ashen face. A few days later, the Guan clan sent over a letter to break off the engagement. At the same time, the entire Li clan and even the entire Yunwu city knew about it. Chapter 2. Did you hear? The Guan clan's Guan Shui is going to cancel her engagement with Li Fuchen. What a pity. Forget about losing his talent, he even lost his fiancée. This is the biggest blow in the world. It's fine if he embarrasses himself, but he even dragged the Li clan down with him. Stop talking, he's here. On the side of the path, the discussions came to an abrupt halt. Li Fuchen walked past these people with an emotionless face. He wasn't surprised that Guan Shui wanted to cancel her engagement. Ever since she displayed her astounding talent, she had slowly changed. She might still be gentle and polite on the surface, but the pride in her bones couldn't be concealed. This was the pride of a prodigy. In her eyes, a mediocre person was no different from an ordinary person, which was why Li Fuchen only felt a tinge of bitterness. What Li Fuchen couldn't accept was the Guan clan burning the bridge after crossing it. When the Guan clan first came to Yunwu City, they were suppressed by the other clans. Without the support of the Li clan, the Guan clan wouldn't be able to establish themselves in Yunwu City. Because of this, the Li clan offended one of the 4 major clans, the Yang clan. Is this the fickleness of human nature? Li Fuchen murmured. As usual, Li Fuchen arrived at the peak of the mountain behind the Li clan. He liked to stand on high ground, probably because he wanted to be an expert and look down on the masses. Today's weather was a little strange. The clouds in the sky were fluctuating and had traces of gold. If there is a day when I can blast these clouds with a single punch, I can die without regrets. Li Fuchen punched towards the sky, imagining his fist force penetrating the golden clouds and into the depths of the starry sky. Grinning, Li Fuchen was about to descend the mountain. Suddenly, he was stunned. In his vision, a hole appeared in the golden clouds. A golden stream of light burst out and shot towards his location. The speed was so fast that time seemed to have stopped. The entire world was silent. Li Fuchen wanted to escape, but his body couldn't move at all. The golden light was dazzling. Li Fuchen couldn't help but close his eyes. In the next moment, his forehead felt hot and he fainted. Li Fuchen had a dream. In the dream, he galloped across the world and was invincible. With a swing of his sword, the sword light illuminated the 9 heavens. With a punch, the fist force penetrated the abyss and reached the underworld. What a pleasant dream! The wrinkled eyebrows stretched out, and Li Fuchen's face was full of domineering. When Li Fuchen woke up, the sky wasn't dark yet. What happened? Li Fuchen had a look of doubt. He touched his forehead and his mind subconsciously rose into his mind. His mind shook violently, and an unprecedented scene appeared in his consciousness. This place was chaos, and in the center of the chaos, there was a gray mist. In the mist, a small golden talisman had appeared out of nowhere. The existence of the golden talisman made his mind feel unprecedentedly good. The gray mist also seemed to condense a little, gradually forming into the shape of a gray ball of light. This is my mind. Could the gray fog be my soul? And what is that golden amulet? Li Fuchen's heart was filled with absurdity. Such a strange scene was completely beyond his understanding. Shifting his gaze, Li Fuchen was attracted by the golden amulet within the gray mist. The golden talisman wasn't worn out in the slightest, yet it revealed a boundless ancient aura. It seemed as if it had existed since the beginning of the world and would exist eternally. Not knowing how much time had passed, Li Fuchen's consciousness was expelled from the mind space due to mental fatigue. It's getting dark, time to go home. Filled with doubts, Li Fuchen returned to the Li clan. Passing by the martial arts field, Li Fuchen saw Li Yunhe sparring with another Li clansman. Sending his opponent flying with a palm strike, Li Yunhe grinned at Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen, are you interested in sparring? I just broke through to the 5th level of the Qi realm and am lacking an opponent. You are more durable. In the Qi realm, each level was harder than the previous. For Li Fuchen to break through to the 5th level so quickly, it must have been because of the 4th rank Red Jade technique. I have something to do today, let's talk in a few days. Finishing his sentence, Li Fuchen left. This bastard. Li Yunhe's expression darkened. This was the first time Li Fuchen didn't give him any face. Trash will always be trash. Seems like not being able to cultivate for a year has destroyed his willpower. He doesn't even have the courage to fight me. Li Yunhe sneered. After dinner, Li Fuchen hurried back to his room. Entering his mind, Li Fuchen was surprised to find that the originally gray mist had now turned into a gray ball of light. Only traces of mist lingered on the outside, giving it a blurry appearance. I wonder if the gray mist turning into a gray ball of light will be beneficial to me? Li Fuchen thought to himself. Putting these thoughts aside, Li Fuchen withdrew his consciousness from his mind and tried to cultivate. 15 minutes passed. Half an hour passed. Li Fuchen opened his eyes, his face filled with astonishment and surprise. In the past, he could only concentrate for a short period of time. But tonight, he actually cultivated for an entire hour without any headaches. Could it be because of my soul spirit? My soul spirit was originally gray mist and looked disorganized. Now that the gray mist has condensed into a gray ball of light, I can concentrate on cultivating? Li Fuchen wasn't stupid and quickly figured out the crux of the problem. This night was destined to be a restless one. Originally, Li Fuchen thought that the golden amulet only had the effect of maintaining the soul spirit. But in the following days, Li Fuchen knew he was wrong. Not only could the golden amulet maintain the soul spirit, it could also transform it. Now that his soul spirit had completely condensed into a ball of light, it slowly turned pale green. As the soul spirit changed color, Li Fuchen felt that his mind was abnormally clear, as if countless circuits had been opened up. Not only was he able to think quickly, he could also draw inferences from one instance and comprehend by analogy. Nighttime. Revolving the 3rd rank Red Jade technique, Li Fuchen's 5 hearts faced the sky and slowly absorbed the energy of heaven and earth. After revolving the Red Jade technique for the 36th cycle, Li Fuchen's body suddenly trembled. His qi left the meridian of the 3rd rank Red Jade technique and entered a new meridian. Like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood, the new meridian was opened up, followed by another. Half an hour later, Li Fuchen's body had 3 newly open meridians. These 3 meridians combined with the meridians of the 3rd rank Red Jade technique, forming a more complicated qi circulation route. Red Jade technique, 4th rank? Li Fuchen got a shock. Each rank of the Red Jade technique was harder to cultivate. Without the technique intent, even if the 3 meridians were opened, it would be impossible to smoothly circulate it. But Li Fuchen obviously broke through the technique intent before opening the 3 meridians. After not cultivating the Red Jade technique for a year, I thought I would need at least a few months to reach the 4th rank. I didn't expect it to only take 3 days. Li Fuchen was in high spirits. The soul spirit changing color not only made his mind more agile, but also increased his perception. Even though his perception wasn't bad in the past, it wasn't as domineering as it was now. Cultivating the Red Jade technique at night, and during the day, Li Fuchen spent all his time cultivating his martial arts. In the yard, Li Fuchen slammed his palm on a sturdy wooden pillar. With a forceful palm force, the top half of the wooden pillar cracked open. If this palm strike landed on a human, it would definitely kill them. Completion stage stone-shattering palm. Not even Li Yunhai could achieve this. The stone-shattering palm was a low-tier, yellow-class palm art, forceful and domineering. Li Fuchen's current cultivation level was still low, but once he was at the 7th or 8th level of the Qi realm, he would be able to shatter boulders with a single palm strike. Cultivating palm arts was done in the yard. Cultivating sword arts, Li Fuchen preferred to do it at the back mountain of the Li clan. At the peak of the back mountain, a fierce wind blew, causing the trees to rustle. Wielding his steel sword, Li Fuchen moved around, his sleeves fluttering in the wind. The current him had a stern expression, eyes like lightning, without a trace of emotion, only passion for sword arts. PFFF. Piercing through the thick trunk of the tree, Li Fuchen twisted his wrist and slashed horizontally. The top half of the tree flew into the sky. Li Fuchen leapt into the air and brandished his sword. In mid-air, a cross-shaped sword light flashed, splitting the top half of the tree into pieces. Low-tier, yellow-class sword art, Tiger Fang cross slash, completion stage. Within 5 days, the stone-shattering palm and Tiger Fang cross slash were at completion stage. Li Fuchen's perception had reached an unprecedented peak. It seemed like any martial arts were no longer a secret in his eyes. As long as he spent some time, he would be able to cultivate them to completion stage. Sword arts are the foundation and also the key to entering the Zhonglan sect. It seems like my sword arts perception is superior to palm arts perception. At the same level, sword arts were much harder to comprehend than palm arts. After all, the sword was just an external object. It wasn't as easy to execute as a pair of bare hands. But once a sword art was at completion stage, the power of palm arts couldn't be matched. A single strike from the sword would result in death or injury, making it extremely dangerous. Yunwu City's 4 major clans, my Li clan is the weakest. Now that the Guan clan has betrayed us after crossing the river, the Yang clan is eyeing us covetously, and the city lord is closer to the Guan and Yang clans. If I become a disciple of the Zhonglan sect, I can definitely help the Li clan return to the top. Taking a deep breath, Li Fuchen's eyes flashed with a terrifying light. Zhonglan sect, I will definitely enter. I want everyone to see that my Li clan isn't so easily bullied. Originally, Li Fuchen only had a longing for the Zhonglan sect. But now, it wasn't just longing, it was ambition. The ones that ruled this world were the sects that were high above. The Li clan's Yunwu City was one of the countless cities in the Zhonglan region, and the Zhonglan region was under the rule of the Zhonglan sect. The Zhonglan sect was a sword Dao sect. More than 70% of the disciples practiced the sword. Be it clans or commoners, becoming a disciple of the Zhonglan sect was an honor. Once you became a disciple of the Zhonglan sect, you would instantly have a meteoric rise. Chapter 3. Young Master Fuchen, why are you here? On this day, Li Fuchen arrived at the martial library and was greeted by 2 guards. The martial library was an important place for the Li clan. It stored a large amount of martial arts manuals. Regular clansmen had to apply to enter the library, but Li Fuchen didn't need to. Li Fuchen laughed. Why? Can I come? Of course you can. The guard hurriedly smiled apologetically. After Li Fuchen entered the martial library, one of the guards asked, "This is strange. I thought young Master Fuchen couldn't cultivate? Why is he here at the martial library? And young Master Fuchen seems to be different from usual. He seems to be in a cheerful mood. Perhaps he hasn't been here for a long time. Come in and experience it," the other guard said sympathetically. The martial library had a total of 3 floors. The first floor was filled with low-tier, yellow-class martial arts manuals. The second floor was filled with mid-tier, yellow-class, and the third floor was filled with high-tier, yellow-class. Arriving at the second floor, Li Fuchen began to select sword art manuals. He had cultivated a total of 2 low-tier, yellow-class sword arts. Apart from the Tiger Fang cross slash, There was also the half-moon sword style. A year ago, his half-moon sword style was already at the completion stage. The Tiger Fong cross slash was much more difficult and was only at the completion stage now. This time, he wanted to see if he could quickly comprehend a mid-tier, yellow-class sword art with his current perception. Clear Breeze sword style. Clear breeze caresses the face, sword chi oppressive. Only feel the breeze but not the sword. Soaring Eagle sword style. Soaring Eagle, sword chi crisscrossing. Xiao Shang sword style. Forceful sword force, earth-shattering. Minor cycle sword style. Drifting sword style. Hidden fish sword style. 8-direction sword style. Within the martial library, most of the manuals were sword art manuals. Looking at the sword art manuals flashing in front of him, Li Fuchen felt as though he could see the rise and fall of swordsmen. Finally, Li Fuchen chose the Clear Breeze sword style and Minor cycle sword style. The Clear Breeze sword style gave him the highest feeling, while the Minor cycle sword style was forceful and dominant enough. Finally, Li Fuchen chose the Whirlwind kick style manual. This was a leg technique that specialized in speed. Once mastered, not only would the leg technique be swift and fierce, but it would also increase one's speed. It was a very practical leg technique. Choosing 3 martial art manuals at once? The Pavilion Guardian Elder was Li Fuchen's paternal grandfather, Li Dexing. With his white hair, he frowned and said, "Fuchen, I don't know if you are able to cultivate in peace. But even if you are able to cultivate, it isn't a good thing to choose too many martial arts manuals at once. Martial arts are about quality and not quantity. If you learn every single one of them, you will only end up mediocre. You have to understand, don't bite off more than you can chew." Li Fuchen nodded and spoke respectfully, "Elder, I know this. I am just bringing it back to take a look." "If you're just taking a look, then I won't scold you." Thinking that Li Fuchen couldn't cultivate in peace, Li Dexing felt it was a pity. 1 year ago, Li Fuchen's innate talent wasn't inferior to the Li clan's top prodigy, Li Yunhai. What a pity! The next morning, Li Fuchen brought his steel sword and returned to the back mountain peak. Clear Breeze sword style. The sword style is meticulous and continuous. At subcompletion stage, 3 blades can be brandished in a blink of an eye. At completion stage, 6 blades can be brandished in a blink of an eye. Before cultivating the Clear Breeze sword style, Li Fuchen tested his own brandishing speed and realized that he could only execute 2 blades in a blink of an eye. 2 blades and 3 blades may seem like a difference of 1 blade, but the difference was like heaven and earth. Perhaps this blade was the key to defeating a strong foe. Facing the wind, Li Fuchen closed his eyes and experienced the intent of the Clear Breeze sword style. After a long time, Li Fuchen opened his eyes and made his move. With a flash of his body, he brandished his steel sword at an extreme speed. As the wind blew endlessly, Li Fuchen's sword style became faster and faster. Indistinctly, it was as though he became one with the wind. Wherever the wind was, the sword would be. When Li Fuchen stopped, his chi was almost depleted. He was panting and sweating profusely. As expected of the Clear Breeze sword style, it consumes so much chi. The higher the grade of the sword style, the faster the chi consumption. With Li Fuchen's current cultivation level, executing a mid-tier, yellow-class sword style was already a little strenuous. If he were to execute a high-tier, yellow-class sword style, his chi would probably be depleted in a dozen breaths. Once his chi was almost fully recovered, Li Fuchen continued practicing, repeating the cycle. In a flash, 5 days had passed. Facing the wind, Li Fuchen brandished more than 100 blades in a single breath. Due to the extreme speed, the sword seemed to blend into the wind. Under the illumination of the sun, the space in front of Li Fuchen was illuminated. 4 blades in a blink of an eye. Sheathing his sword, Li Fuchen let out a turbid breath. He was gradually getting familiar with the marvels of the Clear Breeze sword style. It sounded simple, but it was to harmonize the sword style with the wind of nature. Using the sword as the wind, chi as the wind, and sword chi as the wind. Of course, it was easier said than done. Had it not been for Li Fuchen's pale green soul spirit and exceptional perception, He wouldn't even be able to achieve subcompletion in a month or two. Leaving in the morning and returning at night, time flew by. On the afternoon of the 10th day, with a palm strike on the tree, the leaves fell like rain. The sword was unsheathed and returned to its sheath. Rustle, the sky full of leaves were all shredded. In that blink of an eye, Li Fuchen brandished 6 blades. Finally at completion. Li Fuchen's eyes flashed with a clear radiance. The clear breeze sword style relied on speed to achieve victory. When fast to the extreme, one could discover things that were previously undetectable. Like which angle was the fastest, which posture was the fastest, and which trajectory was the fastest. Speed was a truth. If your speed was fast enough, others would be full of flaws in your eyes. Speed was an iron rule. If your speed was fast enough, your sword move would be unbreakable. It could be said that Li Fuchen didn't just obtain the completion stage of the clear breeze sword style, he also obtained the sword Dao comprehension that many swordsmen yearned for. Sword Dao comprehension was related to perception, but it had nothing to do with perception. Those with mediocre aptitudes might be able to obtain precious sword Dao comprehension through years of sword practice and become an elite swordsman. Those with high perception would have an easier time obtaining sword Dao comprehension, but it was also possible that they wouldn't be able to comprehend anything at all. Comprehension, comprehension, comprehension. Just having perception wasn't enough. After returning to the Li clan, Li Fuchen saw plenty of Li clansmen sparring at the martial arts field. He didn't know if it was his misconception, but he felt that these Li clansmen's sword arts were full of loopholes. If Li Fuchen was willing, he had 100 ways to defeat them. After easily defeating a Li clansman, Li Yunhe's gaze landed on Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen, this time you won't reject me, right? Li Yunhe looked at Li Fuchen with a smile that wasn't a smile, his eyes filled with contempt. You are not my match. Li Fuchen shook his head. What did he say? Did I hear wrongly? This is going to be a good show. Before Li Yunhe progressed to the 5th level of the Qi realm, Li Fuchen wasn't his match. Now it is even worse. I wonder how Li Yunhe will deal with Li Fuchen. Suddenly, the martial arts field was in an uproar. Chapter 4. Lifting his eyelids, Li Fuchen spoke. Li Yunhe, you could have been in a good mood. He didn't put Li Yunhe in his eyes. Even though Li Yunhe was at the 5th level of the Qi realm, ability wasn't just about cultivation. Martial arts allowed one to fight higher levels. Stop the nonsense and draw your sword. Li Yunhe drew his steel sword. As you wish. Li Fuchen walked to the martial arts field and stood 5 meters away from Li Yunhe. Li Fuchen, I have recently reached the entry stage of the drifting sword style. Let me test it out on you. With a dash, Li Yunhe brandished his steel sword at Li Fuchen. Had it been half a month ago, Li Fuchen wouldn't have been able to withstand Li Yunhe's drifting sword style. But now, his opponent's sword style was full of flaws. With a sway of his body, Li Fuchen skillfully dodged the steel sword. Presumptuous! Li Yunhe was enraged and increased the speed of his sword. But, no matter how fast his sword was, it couldn't even touch a hair on Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen was like a willow in the wind, swaying with the wind. His entire body gave off an aura of ease. Impossible? Li Yunhe couldn't believe his eyes. With a flushed face, he gathered his qi and executed the drifting sword style to the limit. A pity, it was all in vain. Li Yunhe, I am going to draw my sword now. As soon as Li Fuchen finished his sentence, the steel sword on his waist was unsheathed. With a dang, the sword in Li Yunhe's hand flew out. With a sway of his body, Li Fuchen arrived in front of Li Yunhe and struck a palm on his opponent's chest. Spitting out fresh blood, Li Yunhe was sent flying. His clothes were shredded and a palm print was clearly imprinted on his chest. Li Yunhe lost? On the martial arts field, the spectators were all dumbfounded and dumbfounded. How is this possible? Half a month ago, Li Fuchen wasn't even a match for Li Yunhe. Could it be that Li Fuchen's talent has recovered? Even if his talent recovered, to surpass Li Yunhe in half a month is too much. Everyone had a surreal feeling in their hearts, as though everything was a dream. Li Yunhe, you weren't a match for me in the past, neither are you now. Take care. Sheathing his sword, Li Fuchen turned and left. Not long after Li Fuchen left, the Li clan erupted. Fuchen, has your innate talent recovered? At the dining table, Li Tianhan's voice was trembling. His mother, Xianxia, was also looking at Li Fuchen fervently. Dad, Mom, my innate talent recovered half a month ago. I originally wanted to give you a surprise. Li Fuchen admitted honestly. This child, since your talent has recovered, why didn't you tell us earlier? Seeing Li Fuchen admit it, Xianxia was pleasantly surprised and reprimanded. In the end, the heavens did not give up on you, nor did they give up on me. Li Tianhan threw his head back and laughed, the melancholy in his heart dissipating. For the past year, he was just like Li Fuchen, feeling depressed and sullen. Although he was the clan leader of the Li clan and had a high status, in Yunwu City, the Li clan was on the decline. Not only was the Yang clan left far behind, even the Guan clan had surpassed the Li clan. Originally, Li Yunhai and Li Fuchen were the hope of the Li clan and had the chance to become a Zhanglan sect disciple. Once the two of them became Zhanglan sect disciples, the Li clan would have the chance to return to the peak. At least it wouldn't be like now, where the situation was deteriorating. Taking a step back even without these burdens, which father wouldn't wish for their children to have a bright future and achieve greatness. But all of a sudden, Li Fuchen's talent disappeared. There was no reason and no solution. He didn't seem to be anxious, but his heart was anxious. But now, everything was back on track. That's right, Fuchen, how did you defeat Li Yunhe? You haven't cultivated for a year? Xianxia asked. Li Fuchen had already prepared an excuse. For the past year, I have been trying to cultivate every day, but it was excruciating. After my talent recovered, I realized that I am extremely focused on my cultivation, 10 times more focused than before. That's why my sword skills improved so quickly. Fortune and misfortune come hand in hand. Not being able to cultivate for a year tempered Fuchen's willpower and gave him a dedication to cultivation that normal people don't have. Naturally, his cultivation would yield twice the results with half the effort. Li Tianhan didn't suspect anything and gave a reasonable explanation. That's true. Xianxia was overwhelmed with emotions. She felt that everything in this world was too mystical and couldn't be explained. The dinner atmosphere was extremely cheerful. This was the first time in a year. The other dinner was much more subtle. Yunhe, tell me what happened? At the dining table, Li Taizhan asked Li Yunhe. Li Yunhe was still in a daze. He mumbled, I don't know, I really don't know. Seeing Li Yunhe in this state, Li Yunhe's brother, Li Yunhai, snorted, I told you long ago, your sword skills have many flaws and your foundation isn't stable. A mere Li Fuchen defeated you so cleanly, what a disgrace. Alright Yunhai, he is still your brother. Show some mercy when you speak. Their mother reprimanded Li Yunhai. If he can't even take a small blow, how can he achieve greatness? Li Taizhan was extremely dissatisfied with Li Yunhe's performance. He and Li Tianhan had been competing for so many years and had always been inferior to each other. He didn't even get the patriarch's position. Thus, he had high expectations for his sons. His eldest son was needless to say, as the Li clan's #1 prodigy, he had hopes of becoming a disciple of the Zhanglan sect. His second son had great improvements this year too, but his performance today left him disappointed. Seeing Li Tianhan's dissatisfied expression, Li Yunhai replied, Dad, don't worry. If there is a chance, I will teach that Li Fuchen a lesson on behalf of my brother. He never put Li Fuchen in his eyes. A year ago, he didn't think Li Fuchen's talent could match up to his. Deep into the night, the faint moonlight shone through the window and into Li Fuchen's room. Puff, puff. Li Fuchen's breaths were long and drawn out. With each breath, a faint red glow could be seen on his abdomen. A year ago, Li Fuchen had already reached the late stage of the 4th level of the Qi realm. If it wasn't for the 1-year delay, it wouldn't have been difficult for him to reach the late stage of the 5th level. To make up for a year's time, it wasn't an easy task. The first thing Li Fuchen needed to do was to break through to the 5th rank of the Red Jade technique and increase the speed of his cultivation. If possible, he hoped to reach the 7th rank of the Red Jade technique in the near future. In his mind, as Li Fuchen cultivated his qi, traces of green appeared within his pale green soul spirit. Like threads, they revolved around the golden amulet. Deep into the night, the faint red glow on Li Fuchen's abdomen suddenly flourished. Within his body, his qi left the fourth-rank red jade technique's meridians and drilled into another hidden meridian. 1, 2. His qi cleared 5 meridians, causing the qi circulation within Li Fuchen's body to become even more complicated. 5th-rank red jade technique. Exhaling a blazing breath, Li Fuchen opened his eyes with a face full of joy. Chapter 5. Perhaps it was because he cultivated the clear breeze sword style to the completion stage and obtained plenty of sword Dao comprehension, Li Fuchen's Xiaoshang sword style was able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. It only took him 9 days to reach the completion stage. The large success of the Xiaoshang sword technique was truly earth-shattering. With a wave of the sword, even a tree as thick as 2 people hugging together could be cut in half. Its power was at least twice that of the clear breeze sword technique. As for the whirlwind kick style and the clear breeze sword style, they had the same effect. The latter required the sword style to be in harmony with the natural wind, while the former required the leg style to be in harmony with the natural wind. Hence, in just 3 days, the whirlwind kick style was cultivated to the completion stage. At the same time, Li Fuchen's cultivation finally stepped into the 5th level of the Qi realm, not inferior to Li Yunhe. It's time to hone my combat abilities. Cultivation, cultivation techniques, and martial arts were the foundation of strength. When the foundation strength was about the same, whoever had a stronger combat ability would have a stronger overall strength. Since young, Li Fuchen had never experienced a real battle. He felt that it was necessary to put it into practice. Equipped with the steel sword, Li Fuchen left the Li clan and headed towards the Misty Mountains. The Cloud Mist Mountains was a huge mountain range. Its name had nothing to do with Cloud Mist City. Instead, Cloud Mist City was named Cloud Mist City because it was adjacent to the Cloud Mist Mountains. The Cloud Mist Mountain range was extremely dangerous. It was shrouded in clouds and mist. Demonic beasts roamed freely, and there were even terrifying demons. It would be fine if it was in the outer perimeter, as there were only rank 1 demonic beasts and rank 1 demons, whose strength was equivalent to a mortal realm warrior. Just a little further in, Class 2 demonic beasts and demons would appear. These were existences equivalent to Origin realm martial artists. A slightly stronger Class 2 demonic beast could easily kill an Origin realm martial artist. As for a Class 2 demon, it was an invincible existence amongst the Class 2 demonic beasts. Even a 9th-level Origin realm martial artist would have a slim chance of survival if they encountered one. Li Fuchen naturally wouldn't seek death. He intended to temper his combat skills at the edge of the Misty Mountains, where the Class 1 demonic beasts wouldn't be too formidable. On the desolate and uninhabited path, Li Fuchen walked as though he was flying. Taking advantage of the time spent on the road, he could also hone the practicality of the whirlwind leg technique, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. 2 hours later, Li Fuchen arrived at the edge of the Misty Mountains. As expected of the Cloud Mist Mountain range. This barbaric aura is truly awe-inspiring. Walking in a dangerous and unfamiliar area, Li Fuchen felt every pore on his body stand up. When passing under a large tree, a slender green shadow suddenly shot towards Li Fuchen. At the crucial moment, Li Fuchen seized the initiative and grabbed the slender green shadow. This was a small green snake. Li Fuchen pinched its weak point and it was twitching all over. The green-striped snake, a low-rank 1 demonic beast. Its strength is not even comparable to a 1st-level Qi realm warrior, but its venom can kill a 6th or 7th-level Qi realm warrior. The Cloud Mist Mountain range is more dangerous than I thought. Li Fuchen believed that if he didn't have a strong soul spirit, he wouldn't be able to catch the green-striped snake in advance. And if he couldn't catch the green-striped snake, he would be poisoned to death by the venom. Continuing to walk, Li Fuchen was even more careful than before. With the support of his qi, his 5 senses were stimulated to the limit. As long as there was a slight disturbance, it wouldn't escape his senses. It's a medicinal herb. Li Fuchen took a glance and saw a small flower growing on a hill not too far away. This was a yellow class, low-tier herb, jasper dew flower, worth 2 gold coins. 2 gold coins wasn't a small amount. A gold coin could be exchanged for 10 silver coins or 1,000 copper coins. An average household in Yunwu City would spend around 10 gold coins a year. Even though Li Fuchen was the patriarch's son, his monthly allowance was only 10 gold coins. Plucking the jasper dew flower, Li Fuchen placed it in a large jade box. This jade box was worth 10 gold coins and could preserve the energy of the herb for a long period of time. As time ticked by, Li Fuchen walked along the edge of the Cloud Mist Mountain range. Stomping hard on the ground, Li Fuchen sprinted along the tree branches. In just a few blinks of the eye, he arrived at the branch of a large tree and looked down at the ground. Just as Li Fuchen climbed up the tree, a malevolent demonic beast emerged from the bushes in front of him. The demonic beast had a brownish-yellow body, with a length of 2.5 meters including its tail. Its vertical pupils emitted a cold and emotionless aura, sending chills down anyone's spine. This was a Class 1 demonic beast, the Steel Bone Jackal. Its ability was equivalent to a 5th-level Qi realm martial artist. Its bones were extremely hard and without a fatal strike, even a 6th or 7th level Qi realm martial artist wouldn't be able to kill it. It's actually a Steel Bone Jackal. Li Fuchen frowned. The Steel Bone Jackal was rather hard to deal with. If it wasn't necessary, he wouldn't choose to fight to the death with it, it wasn't worth it. But obviously, the Steel Bone Jackal noticed Li Fuchen. Its ferocious gaze was shot over, even the leaves couldn't block it. Letting out a cry similar to a child's cry, the Steel Bone Jackal shot out like an arrow towards the tree Li Fuchen was on. The tree shook and the leaves danced in the air. Li Fuchen was knocked down from the tree. Not good. Li Fuchen didn't expect the Steel Bone Jackal to be so ferocious. Caught off guard, he fell from the tree. In the nick of time, Li Fuchen grabbed onto a branch and swung it from one end to the other like a swing. The Steel Bone Jackal leapt into the air and pounced at Li Fuchen. Go down! Grabbing the branch with one hand and drawing his steel sword with the other, Li Fuchen cleaved at the Steel Bone Jackal's face. The sound of leather being cut could be heard. The sword only left a small wound on the Steel Bone Jackal's face, but it didn't inflict any serious damage. Fortunately, the Steel Bone Jackal was knocked down and didn't reach Li Fuchen. Using the swaying force of the branch, Li Fuchen returned to the branch. This time he held on tightly to the main branch to prevent himself from being shaken off again. Ping, ping, ping. The Steel Bone Jackal slammed into the tree again and again. Li Fuchen could already hear the sound of the trunk breaking. He was afraid that after a few more hits, the trunk would completely break. Time to go all out, my sword skills aren't just for show. Clenching his teeth, Li Fuchen jumped down from the tree and thrust his sword at the Steel Bone Jackal. The Steel Bone Jackal was very agile. With a swipe of its claws, it repelled the steel sword and pounced at Li Fuchen again. Just a mere Steel Bone Jackal. Li Fuchen entered the zone. Every move of the Steel Bone Jackal was crystal clear in his eyes. He dodged the attack by a hair's breadth and thrust his sword at the Steel Bone Jackal's ribs. With a peef sound, the steel sword sank into the ribs and fresh blood sprayed out. But Li Fuchen underestimated the ferocity of the Steel Bone Jackal. The heavily injured Steel Bone Jackal didn't fear death and twisted its body to kill Li Fuchen. The sword slashed across the Steel Bone Jackal's neck. The Steel Bone Jackal was like a deflated balloon. It suddenly softened and no longer made any sounds. After killing the Steel Bone Jackal, Li Fuchen stood in the same spot and thought about his flaws. Firstly, he was fearful of the Steel Bone Jackal and didn't know his own strength. Secondly, his lack of combat ability. The first flaw, Li Fuchen didn't think it was a flaw. After all, this was his first time meeting such a ferocious demonic beast. With this experience, he wouldn't be restricted in the future. The second flaw couldn't be solved yet. He needed to experience multiple battles to slowly gain combat ability. Forcefully exhaling a turbid breath, Li Fuchen's eyes burst with radiance and emitted a valiant battle intent. Chapter 6. On the uneven hills, Li Fuchen battled with a metal claw wolf. The metal claw wolf's defense was much weaker than the steel bone jackal's, but its attack was far superior. Its claws were half a foot long and could easily split a tree trunk. With sparks flying, Li Fuchen's steel sword grazed the claws of the metal claw wolf and pierced its throat. A total of 4 blades, not bad. With the experience of dealing with the steel bone jackal, Li Fuchen had an easier time dealing with the metal claw wolf. It only took him 4 blades to kill it. If anyone else knew of this, their jaws would probably drop. Be it the steel bone jackal or the metal claw wolf, a 5th-level Qi realm martial artist would have a hard time dealing with them. One-on-one, not many 5th-level Qi realm martial artists would dare to face them. Li Fuchen only trained for half a day and could easily kill both of them. His combat prowess had already surpassed most Qi realm martial artists. Of course, a regular 5th-level Qi realm martial artist wouldn't be able to cultivate 2 yellow-class, mid-tier sword arts to completion. Li Fuchen may look like a 5th-level Qi realm martial artist, but his combat prowess far exceeded that of a 5th-level Qi realm martial artist. Killing a metal claw wolf with ease wasn't a difficult task. Steel bone jackal, metal claw wolf, violent bear, golden patterned panther. In one day, Li Fuchen killed 4 Class 1 mid-tier demonic beasts. As for the weaker Class 1 demonic beasts like the green-striped snake, Li Fuchen killed at least a dozen of them. As the number of battles increased, Li Fuchen's combat prowess improved by leaps and bounds. His sword arts weren't as refined as before, it was still a little stiff. As the sky darkened, Li Fuchen was on his way back to the Li clan. Today's harvest wasn't bad. A total of 7 stalks of low-tier, yellow-class herbs, 20 metal claw wolf claws, and 5 demonic beast pelts. The total value was around 20 gold coins. By the time he got back to the Li clan, the sky was already dark. Li Fuchen decided to deal with the herbs and demonic beast materials tomorrow. "Fuchen, where have you been today?" Li Tianhan asked at the dining table. "Dad, I found a place to practice my sword." Li Fuchen didn't dare to say he went to the Misty Mountains. Oh! Li Tianhan did not suspect anything. When he was young, he also liked to find a quiet place to practice his swordsmanship. He was not used to practicing in the family. After dinner, Li Fuchen returned to his room. Sitting cross-legged on the futon in the cultivation room, Li Fuchen revolved the 5th-rank red jade technique a dozen times before taking out a jade bottle and popping a pill into his mouth. The medicinal pill was a low-tier yellow-class medicinal pill, the spiritual Qi pill. 1 pill was worth 20 gold coins. In addition to talent, a martial artist's cultivation also relied on resources. With sufficient resources, cultivation would be much faster. However, just relying on resources alone would not work. Otherwise, one's mental state would not be able to keep up, and one would be stuck in a certain realm for a long time. Once the spirit Qi pill's effects were completely refined, Li Fuchen could feel his cultivation level increasing by a small margin. He was getting closer and closer to the peak of the 5th level of the Qi realm. The next morning, Li Fuchen arrived at the city. Demon Refining Pavilion. "Young Master Fuchen, I will give you 1 silver coin for each iron claw wolf claw. 20 of them will be 2 gold coins. Of the 4 demonic beast pelts, the gold-patterned leopard is the most expensive, worth 2 gold coins. The violent bear is worth 1 gold and 5 silver coins, the iron claw wolf is worth 1 gold and 2 silver coins, and the steel bone jackal is worth 1 gold and 7 silver coins. What do you think?" The shopkeeper of the Demon Refining Pavilion looked at the materials on the counter and asked. "Sure." Li Fuchen nodded. The Demon Refining Pavilion was his Li clan's business, so the price was naturally more reasonable than other clans. Leaving the Demon Refining Pavilion, Li Fuchen returned to his family's herb shop and sold the 7 stalks of low-tier, yellow-class herbs for a total of 11 gold coins. It was almost noon and it was too late to head to the Misty Mountains. After all, he still had to rush back in the evening and the return trip would take 4 hours. With nothing to do, Li Fuchen began to stroll around Yunwu City. Ever since he lost his talent, Li Fuchen hadn't visited this familiar city for a year. Unknowingly, Li Fuchen arrived at the treasure pavilion. This was an accessory shop, but it specialized in martial artist accessories. Martial artist accessories could aid a martial artist's cultivation. The treasure pavilion was bustling with activity. Most of the people entering and exiting were at the Qi realm. Occasionally, an Origin realm martial artist would come in to take a look. Big Brother Fuchin? Not long after Li Fuchin entered, a timid voice could be heard from behind. Xiao Dai. Li Fuchin turned around and saw a delicate-looking young lady. Li Xiaodai, a descendant of the Li clan's branch family. Her parents didn't have a high status. Li Fuchin remembered her because during the year when he lost his talent, Li Xiaodai encouraged him. I heard that Big Brother Fuchin's talent has recovered. Xiaodai is here to congratulate you. Li Xiaodai smiled sweetly. Li Fuchin laughed. This is all thanks to your encouragement. Big Brother Fuchin must be joking. My encouragement is useless. Li Xiaodai replied with a serious face. Li Fuchin replied, You are here to look at the accessories, right? Let's go take a look first. Then Big Brother Fuchin shall not disturb you. Li Xiaodai was indeed here to look at accessories. A few months ago, she had her eyes on a bracelet, but she didn't have enough gold coins. After saving up for a few months and with some gold coins from her parents, she finally had enough. The accessories in the treasure pavilion were all priceless. Li Fuchin observed for a moment. The cheapest accessory was priced at 20 gold coins. The slightly more expensive ones were priced at 50 to 60 gold coins, while the ones in the deepest section were priced at 100 or even a few hundred gold coins. Let me take a look at this ring. At the innermost crystal display stand, Li Fuchin saw a blue crystal ring. This blue crystal ring was very beautiful. The ring was silver gold in color and the blue crystal was oval in shape. It was the size of a pinky and was shining with a dazzling brilliance. The shop assistant recognized Li Fuchin and hurriedly took out the blue crystal ring and introduced, Young Master Fuchin, this blue crystal ring is our treasure pavilion's new product. The blue crystal on the ring is of a high grade and is very effective in gathering energy from heaven and earth. The ring itself is made of cold steel and is extremely sturdy. Li Fuchin sized up the blue crystal ring and nodded to himself. Blue crystals were energy crystals that had the effect of gathering energy from heaven and earth. According to the strength of the effect, it was separated into 4 grades: low, middle, high, and peak. In Yunwu City, high-grade energy crystals were already hard to come by. As for peak-grade energy crystals, there was a demand but no supply. It wasn't something that could be bought just because one wanted to. I am just looking at it, I will buy it next time. This blue crystal ring cost 300 gold coins. Li Fuchin didn't have much savings in the past and only had a few dozen gold coins on him. Even though the shop assistant didn't say anything, but a look of disdain flashed in his eyes. Everyone said that Li Fuchin was trash, but who would have thought that he was poor? As a young master of a major clan, he didn't even have 300 gold coins. Compared to the other young masters of the 3 major clans, he was nothing. Wasn't it only 55 gold coins last month? How did it increase to 70 gold coins? This bracelet is the last one. 70 gold coins is very reasonable. But I don't have that much gold coins now. Can I put it on credit first? Sorry, this store doesn't take credit. At the entrance of the store, Li Xiaodai and the shop assistant were having a conversation. The shop assistant's tone was a little impatient. Xiaodai, what's wrong? Li Fuchin walked over. Li Xiaodai reluctantly looked at the bracelet with 3 crystals and shook her head. Big Brother Fuchin, it's nothing. How many more gold coins do you need? Is this enough? Li Fuchin took a glance at the bracelet on the shop assistant's hand. It was a very exquisite bracelet. The bracelet was azure in color and was inlaid with 3 low-grade energy crystals. They were red, yellow, and blue respectively. It was magnificent. Li Fuchin took out all the gold coins he had and stuffed them into Li Xiaodia's hand. This is the last one. If you miss it, you might really miss it. Big Brother Fuchin. Li Xiaodai was embarrassed and hesitant. But just return it to me in the future. Li Fuchin waved his hand. Big Brother Fuchin, I will definitely return it to you. Li Xiaodai really liked this bracelet. Not only was it beautiful, but it was also very useful. Under Li Fuchen's persuasion, she took out 15 gold coins from the gold coins that Li Fuchen gave her and added her own 55 gold coins to buy the bracelet. She then returned the remaining gold coins to Li Fuchen. Looking at the exquisite bracelet in her hand, Li Xiaodia's eyes squinted with excitement. I want this bracelet. Chapter 7. Li Xiaodai didn't react in time and stood there in a daze. Li Fuchen raised his head with a gloomy expression and looked at the person who snatched the bracelet. Guan Mei. In his line of sight was a pretty girl in red. Her brows were somewhat similar to Guan Shui's, but she was different from Guan Shui's arrogance. There was a hint of charm and unruliness between her brows. It was Guan Shui's cousin, Guan Mei. Guan Mei, we have already bought this bracelet. Please return it to her. Li Fuchen spoke in a deep voice. To Guan Mei, this bracelet was just an accessory. But to Li Xiaodai, it meant a lot more. Guan Mei didn't mind. How much gold? I will add some gold to compensate you. Isn't your Li clan trying to take advantage of us? My Li clan trying to take advantage of us? Li Fuchen's expression turned gloomy. This Guan clan was shameless. On the day of the annulment of the marriage, in order to prevent others from gossiping about the Guan clan burning the bridge after crossing the river, they secretly spread the rumor that the Li clan was dissatisfied with the Guan clan's conditions and wanted to take advantage of them. As a result, the focus shifted and a portion of the people believed the rumor, causing the Li clan to be in a mess. I repeat, return the bracelet to her. Li Fuchen's voice was stern and his qi surged. Guan Mei was shocked and dropped the bracelet. Li Fuchen used his leg and hooked the bracelet back to Li Xiaodai. Li Fuchen, you have the guts to yell at me. Guan Mei shrieked. Let's go. Li Fuchen grunted and ignored Guan Mei. He pulled Li Xiaodai out of the treasure pavilion. Hold it right there. On the main street, Guan Mei stood in front of the two and suddenly sent a palm strike. Guan Mei's talent wasn't bad, being at the 4th level of the Qi realm. With the Guan clan's soft flowing palm, she thought it wouldn't be hard to teach Li Fuchen a lesson. Of course, she didn't know that Li Fuchen's talent had recovered. With a palm against Guan Mei's, Li Fuchen's qi exploded. Guan Mei flew backwards in fear and almost fell to the ground. At the crucial moment, a hand supported Guan Mei. Guan Mei, what happened? The one supporting Guan Mei was a youth around the same age as Li Fuchen. His handsome face had a trace of arrogance. Brother Qi, he stole my bracelet. Seeing the handsome youth, Guan Mei had a flash of joy on her face. Even though she didn't know how Li Fuchen was so incredible, but compared to this handsome youth, it was like comparing heaven and earth. Hearing what was said, the handsome youth sneered at Li Fuchen, a man bullying a woman. I really don't know how the Li clan has a descendant like you. What a disgrace. Yang Qi, please understand the situation before you speak. Li Fuchen glanced at him. Yang Qi, Yang clan's disciple, 16 years old, 6th level of the Qi realm, one of the 4 prodigies of the Yang clan. Big brother Fuchen, forget it. I don't want the bracelet either. Li Xiaodai tugged on Li Fuchen's sleeves. She knew of the Yang clan's Yang Qi's prowess. Li Fuchen had no chance of winning against him. Li Fuchen patted Li Xiaodia's hand to reassure her. Yang Qi sneered, Li Fuchen, I know what you are thinking. It is true that Guan Shui doesn't like you and it is embarrassing for you. But think about it, are you worthy of Guan Shui? It seems that this matter has nothing to do with you. If there's nothing else, we'll take our leave. Li Fuchen gestured to leave. Did I say you could leave? Apologize to Guan Mei first and return the bracelet with both hands. Maybe I will go easy on you today. Yang Qi had long disliked Li Fuchen and since he was on good terms with Guan Mei, this was the perfect opportunity. Li Fuchen ridiculed. Just because of what you said, Yang Qi, will teach you how to behave. Yang Qi stepped forward with an unfriendly expression. Look, the Yang clan's Yang Qi and the Li clan's Li Fuchen are at loggerheads. Yang Qi and Li Fuchen, is Li Fuchen stupid? Not to mention him, even Li Yunhai of the Li clan wouldn't dare to offend Yang Qi so easily. Maybe there's something wrong with his brain. Let's see how he embarrasses himself. Xianxia isn't someone who is easy to deal with. Unknowingly, the main street was filled with people, all of them rejoicing in Li Fuchen's misfortune, waiting to see how Li Fuchen would embarrass himself. Brother, look, it's Li Fuchen. At the end of the street, Li Yunhe and Li Yunhai were walking out of a shop. Noticing the commotion on the main street, Li Yunhe spoke with a gloomy expression. Reckless, to actually provoke the Yang clan's Xianxia. Li Yunhai's face was filled with disdain. Xianxia's cultivation level was the same as his. Although Li Yunhai felt that his combat ability was better than Xianxia's, unless it was absolutely necessary, he wouldn't go head-to-head with Xianxia. Come, let's go take a look. Li Yunhai planned to stop Xianxia after Li Fuchen suffered a setback. At the same time, he would teach Li Fuchen a lesson so he wouldn't be too high profile. Even if his talent recovered, he wouldn't amount to much in Yunwu City or the Li clan. Shai, you stand back. Li Fuchen tilted his head. Brother Fuchen. Li Xiaodai was on the verge of tears. She felt that everything was her fault. If it wasn't for her, Li Fuchen wouldn't have had a conflict with Guan Mei, and wouldn't have provoked Xianxia. Don't worry. Trust me. Li Fuchen confidently said. Then Brother Fuchen, be careful. Li Xiaodai retreated into the crowd. Xianxia watched on with interest. To be honest, I really don't understand where your confidence comes from. But that's not important. Next, I will let you know that you, Li Fuchen, have always been trash. A trash that I don't even want to look at. Brother Qi, teach him a lesson. Guan Mei instigated from behind. Li Fuchen, get down. Xianxia made his move. Closing in on Li Fuchen, he threw a punch at Li Fuchen's chest. If this punch connected, it would have broken a few of Li Fuchen's ribs. Li Fuchen gave a cold laugh. Not backing off, he met the punch with a punch of his own. Like two rocks colliding, what surprised everyone was that Li Fuchen didn't even take a step back. His face wasn't red, and he wasn't even panting. How is this possible? Xianxia's expression was gloomy. He couldn't understand. With his 6th level Qi realm cultivation, he should have been able to defeat his opponent with a single punch. How could they be evenly matched? How could he have known that Li Fuchen had already cultivated the Red Jade technique to the 5th rank? When the Red Jade technique was at the 5th rank, his Qi power would surpass a 5th level Qi realm martial artist and be comparable to a 6th level Qi realm martial artist. A high-tier, yellow class technique was usually at the 7th rank. Most of the disciples from the 4 major clans were at the 3rd or 4th rank. Even Li Yunhai's Red Jade technique was only at the peak of the 4th rank. Chapter 8. Venomous Snake Fist. Xianxia retracted his fist and with a shout, he punched out again. This time, it wasn't as direct as before, but had the characteristics of a venomous snake, vicious and fast like lightning. From Xianxia's point of view, Li Fuchen must have consumed some kind of pill that allowed his cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. But this type of person was usually lacking in combat skills and rough in martial arts. Looking at the incoming fists, Li Fuchen raised an eyebrow. His opponent's fists didn't look weak, but in his eyes, they were full of flaws, probably because his venomous snake fist wasn't at completion. With a sway of his body, Li Fuchen dodged his opponent's fist. Just as Xianxia's fist paused, Li Fuchen suddenly closed in. You take a palm from me too. Li Fuchen's right palm cleaved at Xianxia's shoulder. The palm force was fierce and domineering, giving off an unstoppable feeling. Not good. Xianxia panicked and quickly used his arm to block. Li Fuchen's stone-shattering palm was already at the completion stage. Xianxia felt a stinging pain in his arm and staggered backwards, almost falling on his butt. He was in an extremely sorry state. Xianxia was repelled? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? The spectators were in an uproar. They originally wanted to see Li Fuchen make a fool of himself, but instead, it was Xianxia. Now, everyone had a strange expression on their faces. Brother Qi. Guan Mei was stunned too. She couldn't believe her eyes. Was this still Li Fuchen? Li Yunhe and Li Yunhai had an ugly expression on their faces. Xianxia specializes in sword arts, fist arts aren't his forte. This Li Fuchen is asking for trouble. Li Yunhai's mouth twitched. Li Fuchen, you are looking for death. Yang Qi's face turned red. He felt like everyone was laughing at him. He praised himself so much, but now he was repelled by Li Fuchen. This was a humiliation that couldn't be washed away. Clang. Yang Qi unsheathed his sword and attacked Li Fuchen with a ruthless sword style. Yang Qi's venomous snake fist style wasn't at subcompletion, but his venomous snake sword style was at subcompletion. Of course, not everyone could be like Li Fuchen, who could cultivate a mid-tier, yellow-class sword style to completion in such a short period of time. In terms of swords, you are even less of a match for me. Unsheathing his sword, Li Fuchen brandished it with confidence and elegance. Ding ding dang dang. The seemingly tricky and vicious venomous snake sword style, in front of Li Fuchen's longsword, was like a weak spot, unable to display any of its power. In the eyes of the spectators, Yang Qi was like a bug in a spider's web. The more he struggled, the deeper he was trapped. You lost. With a flash of sword light, Li Fuchen's longsword was at Yang Qi's throat. Yang Qi felt as if he had been struck by lightning, and his eyes went completely blank. Sheathing his sword, Li Fuchen was too lazy to say anything to discourage his opponent. This kind of person was not worthy of his ruthless words. Before he failed, he would bare his fangs and brandish his claws, insufferably arrogant. Once he failed, it was as if the sky had collapsed. When a person thought too highly of himself, he would also fall hard. Just as Li Fuchen turned around, Yang Qi regained his senses and roared, "I haven't lost yet. You must have cheated." Yang Qi thrusted his sword at Li Fuchen's back. Feeling the bone-piercing sharpness, Li Fuchen was infuriated. With a spin of his body, like a whirlwind, he rushed towards Yang Qi and kicked his opponent in the chest, causing him to vomit blood and faint on the spot. "Murder!" Guan Mei's scream echoed throughout the street. "He is not dead yet, shut your mouth." Li Fuchen gave Guan Mei a cold stare. His eyes were like knives, causing Guan Mei's voice to stop abruptly. Li Fuchen's eyes made her feel fear and dread for the first time. "Li Fuchen, you are bringing trouble to the Li clan. You still have a chance to apologize to the Yang clan. Don't think that just because you are the patriarch's son, you can do whatever you want and injure others as you please." Li Yunhai walked out from the crowd and reprimanded. There is a price to pay for doing wrong. This is a lesson for him. As for you, you don't have the right to teach me a lesson. Li Fuchen retorted. "Kiki, seems like you are blinded by victory. There is always someone better out there. With your ability, you don't have the right to be arrogant. If we were in the clan, I would let you know if I have the right to teach you a lesson." Li Fuchen's tone caused Li Yunhai to laugh. He wouldn't allow anyone from the younger generation of the Li clan to talk back to him. "Xiaodai, let's go." Li Fuchen treated Li Yunhai as heir and left with Li Xiaodai, leaving behind a stunned crowd. Not long after Li Fuchen left Yunwu City, the entire city was in an uproar. Li Fuchen, who was crippled for a year, not only did he recover his talent, he seemed to be even stronger than before. Even Yang Qi, one of the 4 prodigies of the Yang clan, was knocked unconscious by him. Could it be that the Guan clan's annulment of the marriage arrangement actually motivated Li Fuchen? Not only did it help him recover his talent, it also increased his potential? This was what everyone was guessing. During dinner, just as Li Fuchen expected, Li Tianhan inquired about what happened in the daytime city. After Li Fuchen explained everything, Li Tianhan asked curiously, "Fuchen, tell me honestly, what is your current strength level?" Yang Qi wasn't just anyone. Even if he wasn't on par with the Li clan's #1 prodigy, Li Yunhai, he wasn't too far off. Hearing this, Xin Yuyan was also curious. Their son was getting more and more mysterious. Even as his parents, they couldn't figure out his current situation. Li Fuchen took a sip of the soup and spoke in a refined manner. "Dad, Mom, I am now at the 5th level of the Qi realm. I have also cultivated 2 mid-tier, yellow-class sword arts to subcompletion, not far from completion. The same goes for my other martial arts." He didn't dare to say that he had cultivated all his martial arts to completion, as it was too illogical. Now wasn't the time to tell them. Close to the completion stage? Li Tianhan and Shen Yuyan took in a deep breath of cold air. A thought popped up in their minds. Could Li Fuchen be the Li clan's rare martial arts prodigy? Even for low-tier, yellow-class martial arts, it was extremely difficult to reach completion. What about the red jade technique? Li Tianhan asked again. Li Fuchen continued to hide, peak of the 4th rank. Li Tianhan and Shen Yuyan were speechless for a long time. After a while, Li Tianhan laughed heartily. Misfortune may turn out to be a blessing in disguise. Fuchen, from now on, you better work hard. You might have a higher chance of entering the Zhanglan sect than Li Yunhai. Dad, Mom, I will work hard. Entering the Zhanglan sect shouldn't be a problem for me. Li Fuchen was rather confident. Come, have a piece of chicken. Shen Yuyan smiled as she picked up a piece of chicken for Li Fuchen. Her heart was as sweet as honey. In this world where the strong ruled, whether or not Li Fuchen could enter the Zhanglan sect would determine the future of the Li clan. As his mother, she would also be basking in his glory. Not many knew that her maiden family was actually a major clan, but not in Yunwu City. Chapter 9. Now that the red jade technique was at the 5th rank, Li Fuchen's qi cultivation speed was much faster. He could feel his qi growing little by little every day. With this speed, he should be able to break through to the 6th level of the qi realm in 7 to 8 months. Of course, this speed may be fast for others, but for Li Fuchen, it was still too slow. If I have a martial artist accessory, it should be able to increase my cultivation speed. The qi crystals on martial artist accessories could help the martial artist gather the energy of heaven and earth. Even though the effect was weak, it could last for a long time. What's more, Li Fuchen wanted to buy a martial artist accessory that was embedded with a high-grade qi crystal. But Li Fuchen didn't intend to ask his parents for gold. He felt that since the heavens had already given him the golden amulet, if he had to rely on outsiders, it would be useless. He intended to buy it with his own gold. And the only way he could earn gold was by hunting demonic beasts and harvesting herbs. The Misty Mountains was huge. This time, Li Fuchen took a different route to enter the mountains. What he didn't expect was that this route was extremely safe. He didn't encounter a single demonic beast along the way and didn't even harvest a single stalk of herb. Unknowingly, Li Fuchen arrived at the side of a clear lake. The weeds by the lakeside grew very tall, almost reaching Li Fuchen's waist position. Separated by a few dozen meters, Li Fuchen saw a large stone by the lakeside. The large stone had a gray grass growing on it. Under the sunlight, it was suffused with traces of white light. Stone heartgrass. Li Fuchen squinted his eyes. The stone heartgrass was a high-tier, yellow-class herb. One stalk was worth more than 200 gold coins. It usually grew on top of ores that were rich in minerals. This was the first time Li Fuchen saw a stone heartgrass of this size. Previously, he only saw pictures of it in herb handbooks. I have to get it. Li Fuchen's eyes flashed. The stone heartgrass had the effect of strengthening one's bones. The reason why demonic beasts were so tough was because their bones and flesh were many times tougher than humans. Drawing his steel sword, Li Fuchen carefully approached the stone heartgrass. Just as Li Fuchen was 10 meters away from the stone heartgrass, a blood-red shadow shot out from the bushes. A brutal qi presence was like a storm, sweeping up the grass. Clear breeze blade. Li Fuchen didn't have a trace of fear in his heart. With a flash of his sword, a stream of blood sprayed out. Voila! The huge inertia caused the blood-red figure to slide more than 10 meters away. There was a deep, bloody hole at its throat, and fresh blood was flowing out. The Blood Shadow Leopard was a Class 1 mid-tier demonic beast that was known for its speed. In a solo fight, it might not be a match for a Class 1 mid-tier demonic beast like the Steel-Boned Wolf, but even if the Steel-Boned Wolf used all its strength, it still wouldn't be able to catch up to the Blood Shadow Leopard. A pity that in front of Li Fuchen's clear breeze blade, the Blood Shadow Leopard's speed wasn't fast enough for him to react. Arriving at the side of the stone heartgrass, Li Fuchen was captivated by its beauty. This was a blade of grass that looked like it was carved from grayish-white jade. Perhaps it was because it had matured, spots of white light rose and spread, emitting a fragrance similar to that of rice. Carefully plucking the stone heartgrass, Li Fuchen hurriedly placed it into a jade box to prevent the loss of energy. In the dense forest at the end of the grass. Baldy old six, guess who I saw? The archer nimbly climbed up the tree. After glancing at the lakeside, he bent down and said to the two people below. See who? The baldy and skinny man asked curiously. Li Clan's young master, Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen? The skinny man had a look of surprise. A kid like him dares to come to the Misty Mountains? Heh, our chance is here. Li Fuchen seriously injured young master Yang Qi. If we can kill Li Fuchen and bring his head back to the Yang clan, we will definitely be rewarded handsomely. The baldy grinned. The three of them were the Yang clan's superior guards. Due to their gambling habits, their salaries were completely inadequate. Hence, they would occasionally come to the Misty Mountains to try their luck and earn some gambling money. Keeping the jade box, Li Fuchen was about to turn around. Shio! A shrill sound pierced through the air. Someone sneak attacking. Li Fuchen's senses were extremely terrifying. Before the sound could even be heard, he was already rolling on the ground. Just as he was about to leave his original position, a sharp arrow shot into the grass and deeply embedded itself into it. Li Fuchen didn't stop rolling on the ground. Behind him, 2 consecutive arrows pierced into the grass. The archer who ambushed him was actually able to shoot according to his movements. Had it not been for him being half a step faster, he would have been a corpse by now. After shooting 3 arrows in a row, the archer took out a fruit and started munching on it. In his eyes, Li Fuchen was dead for sure. Baldy, 6th bro, go bring his corpse over. The archer ordered. You sure are relaxed. The baldy scolded jokingly. Walking out of the forest with the skinny man, they headed towards the lakeside. The wild grass was very tall. Li Fuchen quickly lifted his head to look at the direction where the arrow came from. 60 to 70 meters away, a baldy and a skinny man walked out of the forest, one on the left and the other on the right, heading towards him. With his strong senses, Li Fuchen estimated that the baldy was at the 8th level of the Qi realm and the skinny man at the 7th level of the Qi realm. I need to take care of one first. Li Fuchen's eyes flashed with a cold light. He silently crept towards the skinny man on the right like a python. 50 meters. 40 meters. 30 meters. When he was 30 meters away from the skinny man, Li Fuchen laid there motionless, without a trace of Qi presence. If it wasn't for the close distance, no one would have noticed Li Fuchen's presence. After 2 days of tempering in the Misty Mountains, Li Fuchen gradually grasped some of his soul spirit abilities. For example, he could now perfectly conceal his Qi presence. Of course, he wasn't sure if it was due to his soul spirit ability or the golden amulet's effect. The grass was at least a meter tall, completely concealing Li Fuchen. With his right hand on the hilt of his sword, Li Fuchen waited for the skinny man to approach. 10 meters. 5 meters. 3 meters. Now is the time. Li Fuchen's body shot upwards. Under the sunlight, the dazzling sword light dazzled the eyes of the skinny man. Feeling a chill on his neck, the skinny man's eyes widened as he fell backwards. 6th bro. The bald man roared, leaped up, and cleaved at Li Fuchen. A full force slash from an 8th level Qi realm martial artist. Don't even mention Li Fuchen, even a class 1 mid-tier demonic beast would be split in half. A pity that Li Fuchen wasn't a demonic beast. To a human martial artist, he was more fearsome than a demonic beast. At least demonic beasts weren't as agile as him and their senses weren't as sharp as his, able to analyze the trajectory of the baldy's attack in a split second. But Li Fuchen was only at the 5th level of the Qi realm. Even if he could predict the trajectory of the baldy's attack, he didn't have the ability to counterattack and could only dodge to the side. Crash! A meter-tall patch of grass was sliced in half. The baldy's combat skills weren't weak. Unable to hit Li Fuchen with his sword, he quickly exerted strength in both his arms and changed from a downward slash to a horizontal sweep. Li Fuchen was already prepared for the baldy's follow-up attack and pounced forward. Good lad. Welcome to Legends of Cultivation audiobooks, where we bring ancient fantasy to life through storytelling. Follow the rise of heroes who defy fate, unlock mystical powers, and battle across celestial realms. Our audiobooks are crafted for fans of Chinese cultivation novels, filled with battles, breakthroughs, and legendary artifacts. Subscribe and be part of an unforgettable journey into the realm of immortality.